about Facebook. Afternoon, folks. We Davy shop, and they truck Davy out the truck at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is clear, 5 degrees, temperature dropping. Anyway, that's the weather forecast for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. You want to know what the weather's like with you? Look at your own bloody Monday. Right, what brings Davy to your screens today for a shot? This has to be said. Looking at the ducking and diving on what Lee Anderson had to say about Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, was outrageous. I know they've removed the Tory Whitfield, but it wasn't removed for what he said. It was removed for no apologising. Now, I warned about this years ago for my truck. I've watched this. David and I have discussed this down through the years. As the empire shrunk, you know, there was always the othering of the people who left. But I said, as it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, and as the UK contracts, what will happen is they'll run out of other people to blame. So they're no blaming Israel, they're no blaming Europe anymore for their woes because we've left Europe. Now they're turning inwards. I warned about this. See, when they finish with Europe, they'll turn on the Jocks, the Northern Irish, and the Welsh, and they'll get to us. But at this point in time, it's other ethnic minorities that are going to take it. This is dirty politicking because they have, over the centuries, they have ruined everything, the economy, everything they touch turns to shite. And now we are on the othering of minorities. For us up here in Scotland, who have looked on in horror for the last 100-odd years and have thought to ourselves since devolution and before, it's time to take back control. These people are destructive. They are not a force for good in the world. They are mental cases. And I don't mean the English people, I mean the people they vote for. The way it's rigged so that that's the only people they can vote for. But they're finished on the outside and now they've turned in. And Islamophobia is where they're at. When they get out of that, they'll come after some of the other minorities in these islands. And that puts the Irish, the Welsh, and us here in Scotland right up there. But we're not talking about the people of England. We are talking about the politicians. This particular election is going to be fought on the culture wars. And what we're seeing right now is absolutely disgusting. I'm not a religious man, so I don't really give a shite if you're a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, whatever. As long as you're a good person, then that's fine. I really don't care. And the same thing goes with your sexuality. I really don't care. But we're going to see a culture war here. And the minorities it looks like they're going after is the LGBT community and trans community. And at this point in time, it's Muslims. And it's disgusting. And this has to be said. What we're seeing is absolutely disgusting. We're seeing peace protesters all around the UK calling for a ceasefire in the Israel genocide in Gaza, and they've been called pro-Palestinian protesters rather than peace protesters, and they're being called anti-Semites. As we've already explained, and as David explained, Semite is a reference to language for the area around about Israel, Jordan, around about there. And if you're anti-language, that's one thing. But that's no anti-Jewish, anti-Semite. It's about the languages of the area. But this is not on, folks. And I can't impress this upon people enough. Let's not buy into this pish. You know, the immigration thing and all the small boats thing, that makes me laugh. 1.35 million people arrive with visas, and we're supposed to be worried about 30,000 people arriving in small fucking boats. This is where we're at. We're othering minorities. That's how low it goes. They've wrecked everything, they've stole everything, they've fucking sold everything. And now to keep the public distracted from the facts, they are othering minorities. And eventually that othering of minorities will get to us here in Scotland and Wales and those in Northern Ireland as we look on more and more in horror, watch the place spiral into decline, and our calls to be short of Westminster become stronger. But at this point in time, it's the Muslims who are copying it, and those arriving in small boats, the 30 or 40,000 a year compared to 1 million coming in legal migration. This is nuts. This is the dirtiest stuff I've ever seen, and I've been following politics for longer than most. In fact, modern studies was one of my favourite subjects at school. But as I say, this has to be said, folks. We have to rise above this. We cannot be dragged into the culture wars. And we cannot allow the press and empty-headed politicians to have us turn on each other when the people we have to turn on are those in that house of thieves and carpetbaggers and the corrupt system that they have built. And we've seen the way that the two cheeks of the same arse gerrymandered the ceasefire vote on the SNP's opposition day motion. They will go as low as they have to protect themselves. And if that means splitting the population and turning the population on each other, that's what they're going to do. We have to ensure that doesn't happen. We have to rise above it. We must not be convinced that our neighbour next door, because they're a different religion from us, is a bad person. Or because their skin's a different colour from us, makes them a bad person. Because that's what these Muppets are at. That's where we are with these Muppets. So this really had to be said. It had to be said. Because I'm disgusted at what I'm observing. We have to rise above it. And we must not allow them to have us other our neighbours. Have a nice day.